Hello and welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World with me, Charlie Peters. I've got a great panel this evening. Joining me tonight is the broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and the political commentator Samuel Sweek. So much to get through tonight, but let's start with our main topic. Is it one too many U-turns for the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, now going ahead with that change to the local elections? They were going to be blocked, delayed in some cases by several years, but now dozens of councils and local authorities will have those local elections later this year. Lizzie, I've got to start with you. What is this now, the 14th, 15th U-turn?
15th.
There could be another before we put this out tonight.
Unbelievable. I mean, how many U-turns? There's not enough road for him to do another U-turn. He's done more U-turns than an Olympic ice skater.
But how damaging is this one in particular? Delaying democracy, now having to move back on it.
Well, I'm glad he's done it, let's be honest. And I have to say, I thank Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, thank goodness, giving back our freedoms to this country. It's unbelievable that he was going to deny 4.6 million people of their vote. I mean, that we are a democratic country. We feel we're being run by a dictator. And it really I was so shocked, but I am so relieved.
Well, let's bring our man left in the corner over there. Samuel, look, you've heard it from Lizzie that this is all down to Nigel Farage. Reform's legal challenge has pushed Steve Reid and Sir Keir Starmer into this decision. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. It was unprecedented for Starmer to try and postpone elections. We often very flippantly talk about countries like North Korea, which are without democracy. But it's fair to say that the right decision has been made, that people will have their chance to actually cast their vote. And I think, to be honest with you, I think the writing's been on the wall for Starmer for a long time. I think that a lot of his challenges have been seeing where things are going to go with the Mandelson scandal. And I think a lot of people are biding their time because, let's be honest, Labour are going to get hammered at these local elections. And I think that will be the proper starting gun for a Labour leadership contest in the end of Keir Starmer's reign.
Something from your perspective, to the left of the Labour government, where do you see how they can go to U-turn all the U-turns, to make a proper direction out of a bit of a directionless government at the moment? What can they do to change and perhaps gain even your confidence as well?
Well, there's much that they could do, and they have actually at times shown signs of going the right way. We've had very small conversations, and we need to have more on increasing minimum wage. We need to look at youth unemployment. We need to be looking at climate pledges, and we need to be looking at giving people hope. Essentially, it's remarkable to me that Labour got in 2024 on an impressive, huge mandate, and they've done nothing with it. They've had an opportunity, and I'm afraid to say they've squandered it. So where Labour go from here, I don't know. I do think there's going to be a very good chance that Reform and the Green Party will benefit from this. And like I said, I don't know where the Labour Party does go from here.
Lizzie, we'll come back to this later in terms of the minimum wage and unemployment. But do you think that climate pledges that Samuel's talking about there and that move and a shift to the left is the answer to Sir Keir Starmer's dramas?
No, it isn't. And can I just first say, with something you've just said, the reason why Labour got in was because the Tories were so disastrous and it was the smallest turnout ever. Keir Starmer, he seems to have upset everyone. And doing this now, the net zero is just going to hurt this economy. It really is, Charlie. We've got to look at what America's doing. Put this country first. The first order of any government is to look after its people. This government hasn't done it, and that's why they're at the bottom of the polls. They are, he is a dead man walking, and I think Labour are toast.
Every time your phone connects to public Wi-Fi, anyone nearby could snoop on what you're doing. Hackers can steal your information, passwords, photos, and bank details in just seconds. ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. ExpressVPN is so easy to use. With just one click of a button, you're protected. Streaming, banking, or shopping, you can switch between high-speed servers worldwide in seconds, and your connection never slows down. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your online life today.
they're not necessarily at the bottom of the polls, but they are doing very poorly in the polls.
Well,
They're still beating the Greens, the Conservatives in some polls, and also the Lib Dems as well. But they are definitely suffering a lot. And he's very unpopular, Sir Keir Starmer.
I'm sorry, at the poll I just saw, he's put as the most despised...
Him personally, yes.
Him personally, despised Prime Minister in living memory. It is shocking. He has been disastrous. I don't know anyone who likes him. You know, from the pensioners, the farmers, the small businesses. We're here in a pub. 500 pubs are set to close this year. It's a disaster, Charlie.
Well, Samuel, people who defend Sir Keir Starmer point out that he's not a typical politician. He hasn't got that political background, that he's come into this from a life of public service, working at the Crown Prosecution Service. But do you think actually that lack of political experience is part of the reason why he's sort of falling apart in a lot of ways? He doesn't really have a clear direction. He doesn't really seem to have any politics. He flip-flops so much. What is Starmerism? What does he believe in?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't even think Keir Starmer could answer that question. I think Keir Starmer's modus operandi, first and foremost, was to erase the left wing of the Labour Party and succeeded in doing so, which has obviously benefited parties like the Greens and independent candidates, as we saw. But beyond that, the Labour right traditionally governs terribly. They don't have a plan. They like to have the Labour Party. They like to hold on to its mechanisms. But when they get into office, as we see now, what we're doing, Keir Starmer has got whether it be because the Tories, massively dropped off at the last election, the way our system works is they did gain the most seats. They have got a stunning majority on paper, and they have done nothing with it.
But it's a paper majority, isn't it? And Lizzie, I think for a lot of people in the Starmer camp, when they're talking about what they want to be able to do, they often tell us that they feel hampered by his backbench. In many ways, that stunning majority is a massive curse for Sir Keir Starmer, because they keep telling him to do more left-wing things that the public don't want. They won't let him cut welfare. They won't let him have more spending headroom to commit to the priorities that the British public want. They certainly won't let him move to stronger stances on immigration. No. How much of a problem is that for Sir Keir Starmer?
Well, it's a huge problem. I'm afraid he folds like a cheap tent. He's scared of the backbenchers. He can't do anything. And the man is a weak leader. He isn't a leader. He really isn't. I'm afraid he's let down this country immensely. And even when we hear him speak, he's looking down. He's at his auto cue. You look at someone like Nigel Farage, who does it, so effortlessly. He isn't a strong leader, but he can't move or do anything because he's scared of the backbenchers. Even his speeches aren't written by him.
Every senior politician has a speechwriter.
I know, but
are you talking about the sort of the island of strangers?
The island of strangers, and then he
later.
went back. He then did a U-turn on that. The man is weak. He's incompetent. He's inept, and there isn't a business brain amongst that cabinet, and that is the truth. And that is why this country at the moment is on its knees.
How important is that? The lack of business experience, private sector experience in the cabinet. I think Lizzie raises a good point there. They've all operated in sort of the world of politics before, many of them in unions, or they've been, activists in the past. You do need business people in the cabinet to understand how the country works.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I think that argument or that point holds much stock. I would rather, have a parliament full of carers, a parliament full of people who have worked in retail, people who have come, through university as students, had that experience. I think that politics is fundamentally broken in this country. I think we are going down, and we continue to go down, a path that has led people to feeling hopeless. We've got record unemployment. We are our country is struggling. People do feel genuinely hopeless. Starmer has achieved nothing to bring people hope.
Right, Simon, let's put you in Downing Street then. You want to turn around this sense of hopelessness. Imagine you are in this unimaginable universe, supporting and advising Sir Keir Starmer. You're in his office every day. What would you be telling him to do to turn the ship around?
Quit. Firstly,
you'd be out of a job as well, Samuel.
Another U-turn.
I think, that's a U-turn I would support if it was his walk towards the gate. But what I would do is I would firstly invest in the youth of our country. I think we need to give people a pay rise. We need to give businesses confidence to take on new members of staff. We need that to, as part of having a functioning economy. We need people to have something to
So you'd be more like the backbenchers who are hampering him so much. You'd put more in to the left-wing vision, which is causing him so many dramas.
I don't think that having hope is exclusively left-wing, but I think that's what we need to give.
Talking about pay rises, for example, raising minimum wage.
In incentive,
Sure.
people need to want to do better. There has to be that. People, also fundamentally to survive. To people,
So Lizzie, what would be in your sort of special advisor, Lizzie Cundy, inside Downing Street role? What would you be telling Sir Keir Starmer to do?
Leave. Go.
Okay, you two, you're
but
both
look,
the same vision.
Look, he's put in, his whole cabinet is inept. As I said, they haven't got a business brain between them. He's got a chancellor,
well, let's imagine they've got Lizzie Cundy's brain.
Who actually did lie, has been caught out numerous times. And, I love the Halifax. I banked there. She should have stayed there. Okay, it's a great job. She's not equipped for the job. And you know what? His judgment is frightening.
Look, I want to hear what you would do. I want to hear what you would do if you were supporting the imam. You've heard Samuel saying he'd raise the minimum wage.
If I was supporting Keir Starmer,
you were advising him, yeah.
Well, if I was advising him, I'd get rid of the cabinet, everyone that he's got completely, and I would most definitely leave the ECHR, and I would, stop this minimum wage. I would, support the pubs, support small businesses, because I'm afraid we're on our knees as a country.